Hello, I am Austin Burmeister. Hello, I am Austin Burmeister, a robotics student at Lake Area Tech,
I'm Jacoby Hughes. I'm also a robotics student at Lake Area Tech. We're both going to be graduating next May.
and we're here to explain to you why we did in fact land on the moon.
Our first argument as to why we did land on the moon is that there is physical evidence uh, that says that we've landed on the moon. If you were to take a very, very powerful telescope and look at the moon and look at the places where we landed, you'd see our equipment still up there. You'd see the buggy up there, the lunar lander up there. You'd see footprints from the astronauts. You'd see the trails from the buggy. The American flag is still in all of those spots. NASA has released pictures of the equipment from their lunar orbiter that's going around the moon as we speak. And while the astronauts were up there, what was it they put up there again?
They placed retroreflectors up there.
They placed retroreflectors up there to prove that we did indeed land there. And if you were to point a very, very powerful laser to one of those reflectors, it would point right back at us to prove that we did go.
Another point would be the shadows that are cast in the photos that we see from the Apollo missions. So, the lander shadow, the shadows from the astronauts, the buggies, the hills, are all parallel. This is due to from a singular light source, i.e., the sun, being 93 million miles away, and you only get parallel shadows if you have light rays coming in the same direction. That's only caused by if the light source is very far away and you're getting parallel light rays, or if you have laser light. The only way to then fake it then within the studio is with laser lighting, but the only lasers available at the time were red and very expensive. So the photos that we would get would be red shifted like in an art gallery, but we don't see that.
Alrighty, the next argument and the four reasons why we did go to the moon is that NVIDIA, who is a very powerful graphics card company, they make graphics cards for PCs, and I'm sure they make other equipment as well. A few years ago, they came out with a photo of Buzz Aldrin coming down the lunar lander, and they rendered the photo to pretty much the bare minimal, as bare as the photo can get, to prove like how similar their rendered photo is to the photo that NASA came out with, to prove that they didn't do any kind of editing to the picture at all. Back in those days, in '69, they didn't have the technology to uh, Photoshop out or in particles into pictures and things like that. When they took the picture, it was what it was.
Another point to be made would be how many people were involved within the Apollo mission. There are 400,000 NASA employees alone, not to mention all the other space agencies like Lockheed Martin, other contractors that worked for this program. Also, there were scientists in Australia, Spain, and England that independently picked up transmissions from the moon. Our greatest rival at the time, Russia, even confirmed that we had landed there.
That's our four reasons, but there's also some what would you call it?
Hoaxes.
Theories or hoaxes that people like to say. One of the first arguments is that why haven't we gone back to the moon? We haven't gone back to the moon just because it's so expensive. We've been there 6 times. I think NASA has their sights on further things further than the moon. Like Mars. We're hoping to get to Mars somewhere in the 2030s. In him and I's lifetime, of course, we haven't gone to the moon, so it'd be really cool if we did. But we have already been there 6 times. If him and I have seen it or not, and it's just too expensive right now.
I think the total cost of the Apollo program in 2015's money was somewhere around $100 billion. So it's not something that's very economical for us to do. Another point would be that the physical evidence that is there was just placed by satellites. Well, that is possible, yes, but just the sheer weight of all the equipment that is there, we have a rocket powerful enough to send all of that equipment there. You have a rocket powerful enough to put people on the surface itself.
Another argument that people like to say is that all the photos that they released were doctored up. Like I said previously with the NVIDIA graphics card deal, they really did not have the technology back then to Photoshop pictures. And people like to say, well, why isn't there any stars in the picture and the pictures that they released? And to be honest with you, you're not going to be able to see stars in the picture. That just it doesn't pick it up, right?
No, there's too
Camera-
much light just
yeah.
coming from the sun and bouncing off the moon's surface.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why then, when you see the photo of Buzz Aldrin, he's lit up in a shadow. Well, that's because the moon's surface was reflective, why we have moonlight coming back to us. Some people might like to say that there were multiple governments lying on our behalf and that they paid off NASA employees not to say anything. People really like to gossip, and, you know, as hard as it was for people to, shut up Edward Snowden, when he came out with the leaks about wiretapping, something as big as the Apollo mission definitely would have gotten out. Also, Russia wouldn't have lied on our behalf, especially at the time that we were at such a cold war with them. It just was impossible for them to do. And with that, I think we've pretty much proved why we definitely win.
We done did go to the moon.
We done did go to the moon.